Yeah, Tracy, that shooting involving that 11-year-old is still under investigation.
Meeting this morning, folks were talking specifically about gun violence and the trauma that kids are facing.
In Philadelphia, gun violence has surged in 2020, making that year the most violent year the city has since 3 decades. Jamie Gauthier is a member of Philadelphia City Council and has witnessed the effects of gun violence in her district.
Gun violence is prevalent across the district that I represent. So many of the neighborhoods in West and Southwest Philadelphia experience routine shootings. And a lot of times these shootings happen in pretty tight geographies, spans of a few blocks. So for some people, it kind of feels like, almost like they're living in a war zone. So it's a pretty dire situation right now in my district.
Gun violence especially takes a toll on children and youth. Sinai Miller is a 17-year-old high school student who is concerned about her safety.
When it's the morning, obviously, because it's daylight, I can see things clearly. I feel more safe, but at night, I definitely walk a little bit faster. I hold onto my book bag a little tighter because I've heard of different things that has gone on in my neighborhood.
At one scene, I asked a young woman how she was feeling, and she started to cry. And she said that she feels like nothing in her neighborhood is ever going to change for the better. And she said that she feels scared.
Not only are kids afraid to step outside, they're afraid to step in a place where it's supposed to be safe, like school.
It's a very scary thought that anything can happen. It just makes me like, I've had moments in class where I'm like, yeah, like this could be my last moment, like in this class, if anything did go wrong. Like, and that's not a way to think. Like, what if this was my last class and this was just my last moment in life? Like, it's not a way any student should think, because they're in school to learn and to feel, safe.
I think that all kids should be able to learn in comfort and away from trauma and stress. And right now, we're not really, as a city, able to provide that experience to our youth.
I don't know, living in America, I think the things that scare me most about gun violence in schools is like just seeing the stats and all of the cases where this has happened.
2020 was our second most violent year in Philadelphia history. We're on track in 2021 to exceed those numbers by about 40%. And so I think that gun violence in the city has been exacerbated by the pandemic, right? By the fact that many neighborhoods are cut off from resources like their schools, like their rec centers and libraries. Many people have lost their jobs. Many people are cut off from their social services. And so it creates this tense environment that I think kind of leads to some of the violence that we've been seeing. So it definitely has increased over the past year and a half as we've been dealing with this pandemic.
At least in my generation, we've seen this happen so many times. So it's almost ingrained in our minds to be scared in this place.
Many people believe that more policing will help our community, but Jamie Gauthier believes otherwise.
I think that as a city, we have to do more to invest in neighborhoods and to invest in people in a way that prevents gun violence from even happening in the first place.